Alright, so we're going to get started opening up Unreal from Windows Explorer manually. So you want to look on your C drive, and you're looking for the Program Files folder. So if we go into Program Files, then we are looking for the Epic Games folder. Click on your latest Unreal Engine. The one that we're using is 4.24. On my own machine, I happen to have a lot of different versions. At FIT, we will just have 4.24. So go into that folder, go into the engine folder, go into the binaries folder, go into Win64. And this is the same file path that we've been using for all these weeks now. And the executable that we're looking for is ue4editor.exe. Double click that. Of course, if you're at home on your own machine, you can use the Epic launcher, if you're familiar with that, and go in that way. I'm just showing the way that we have to do in class and in that lab at school. Alright, so if we're starting a new project here, I can go to Games, since that's what I'm making. And we've been focusing on using the 2D side scroller. Now, the 2D side scroller is more just for 2D completely. The other side scroller is more for 2.5D. You can have 3D models in here, 3D characters, and you get some nice 2.5D perspective. We're just looking at the 2D side scroller, so go ahead and click Next. Choose a place to save it and what you want to call it. I'm just going to call mine Side Scroller Test on a location on my hard drive where I know I want it. A suggestion for you, save this to a portable hard drive so you can take it with you, open it up on your own machine and the school's machines. Call this something relevant. I'm just going to call this Side Scroller Demo, because that's what this is. And you can go ahead and click Create Project, the big green button. Let that load up. It's going to load up very quickly for me, but again, if you're doing this at FIT, it's going to have some lag and take a couple minutes to open up. Just be patient. If it doesn't pop up right away, eventually it will pop up the screen that says the percentage that's loaded. It will start to load. Okay. So first thing that we want to do here, I'm going to rearrange my window so it looks more like what you're familiar with. And I'm going to be working with the sprites, the Mario sprites that we've been using. And remember, these assets are on the FIT Game Design Tumblr, fitgamedesign.tumblr.com, and they're in class 4. There's an asset link right there. Take you to a Google Drive. There's a bunch of stuff in the Google Drive. I'm just going to grab a few of the things. Alright, so in my content browser, I'm going to click the import button and import some sprites. And this is true for any sprites that you either make or download. And it's going to be the same process. So I have two PNG files. Actually, I have 3 PNG files here. I have sprite sheet, and then I have one extra sprite that I forgot to put in the whole sheet, so I kept it separate as another PNG. I'm going to import that. And you see down bottom here, we have 3 texture files. You can tell they're textures because they're red. They have the little red bar down at the bottom there. Means they're textures. You can always open these up. If you double click on it, you'll see the actual texture by itself. If it has transparency or not. You should probably save your sprites with transparency. Alright, let's go ahead and make the sprites then. So To convert these from textures into a sprite asset in Unreal, we need to turn it into a sprite. So we right click on it. This is the easiest way to do it. Right click, sprite actions, create sprite. Or actually, no, my bad. Not create sprite, extract sprite, because we have a bunch of them here. So extract sprites. Right click, sprite actions, extract sprites. And what this is going to do, it's going to rip the sprites out of the PNG file. You can see here, it found the sprites and it put this little yellow box around them. The yellow box is useful going forward for us because this represents the collision box. And as we looked in class, we can actually modify this collision. And sometimes we have to if we have platforms with weird shapes and undercuts, or even characters with weird shapes. We can make custom collisions. For our purposes right now, we can just have this be auto. But if you do need to do it manually, you can click this little drop down that currently says auto, change this to manual, and you'll get much more fine control. We'll do that when we import some platforms. So extract. Okay. So down at the bottom here, you can see we have 4 different sprites selected or created. We have the idle, we have a walking one. We're going to combine the idle and the walking to create a walking sequence. We have a crouch, and we have a falling animation. And I want to create one more. Again, I forgot to put this in the original sprite sheet with all of them, so I just kept it separate. Right click on that again, same thing, extract sprites, sprite actions, extract sprites. We can keep this auto, click the green button down bottom, extract. And now I have 4 sprites. The sprites in this case in Unreal are this light blue color down bottom. Okay, we might as well just turn these all into sprites, or flipbooks right now, even though we're just going to be doing the walking and the jumping at the moment. So in order to turn these into animations, we need to click on the sprite, right click on it, and go to create flipbook. A flipbook is it's what Unreal calls animations. Frame-based animations. Think of an actual paper flipbook. You flip the frames, you get the animation. That's what this is. We play a bunch of sprites in sequence, we get an animation. In this case, a lot of these sprites that I have are just going to be single frame animations. Doesn't matter, you still need to create a flipbook out of them, whether they have actual animation with lots of frames or just a single frame. So right click, create flipbook. And I'm going to name these as something more appropriate. I'm just going to put a underscore flipbook after each of them. Now the naming here is just for organizational purposes. Always recommend to stay organized. But the naming that I do here has no bearing on the actual functionality. So long as you plug the right thing into the right node in the blueprints, we will be fine. All right, so we got the jump. Let's make a flipbook from this one. This is the idle. I have to rename this one better. Mario idle underscore flipbook. And the next one is going to be a walking sequence. Walking sequence is, we're going to have to detect 2 different sprites. We're going to have to select both of them. We're going to have to select the idle, and we're going to have to select the walking sprite. The walking sprite is right, that's the falling sprite. The walking sprite is right here. So we have the idle, and we have the walking sprite. The walking sprite and the idle combined are going to be a 2-framed animation. Okay, so we right-click, create flipbook. Create flipbook. We have Mario walking underscore flipbook